It's day 8 of the painting challenge, and here's my plague bearer. I've gone over all the cork bases with a flat black. You can see the blooming of the primer underneath this pink coat. Not really happy with that. I don't know if I'm going to go back and strip these or not, but we'll see. I think I'm just going to stick with it. So the next step is to go and put a second pink on top of this. This is a lighter version of pink. And I'm not being really careful with the brush strokes or anything like that. This is just going on kind of haphazardly, mostly on the high points. It really doesn't matter if it's even or not because a wash will help blend these two colors together. And then of course I'm going to use the same lighter pink as a dry brush color to highlight everything back up again. Right now I'm just trying to hit most of the high areas, but like I said, I'm not really worried. I'm not being extra careful about the brush strokes. I just want some variation in skin tone. So I'm going to finish this up off camera, and then we'll go on to the next step. I know the lighting makes this seem like a really extreme color change. It really isn't. Once this pink dries, it darkens up quite a bit, and the fluorescent light above my head really makes that white in this new paint glow. The color change is really not that drastic. It's just a few shades lighter. Once that second coat has dried, I'm going to start washing all the models. So you can see here that the color change is not as drastic as when the paint was going on wet. I've deliberately left the skin blotchy. I'm hoping that that'll add to the unhealthy nature of these plague bearers. But now it's time to get to the wash. So every model is going to get a Citadel shade Drukai Violet wash, and I'm going to wash over the whole model. Now I've cut this wash 50-50 with water. I don't want the color to be too powerful. I just want this wash to sink into the deep crevices and not darken the pink too much. I know it's going to, and I'm going to have to go back with a dry brush and highlight this skin tone back up again, but the wash will give some good depth, especially to the shaded areas. Again, I'm not worried too much about the intestines and all the raised pimply bits. They're going to be touched up in yellow and then the transparent green like I talked about yesterday. So once the wash is done, this one has to dry a little bit, but I'll go back over with a dry brush. You can see here on the leg what effect that bad primer is having on the wash. It's all scaled and uneven. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I know it's a bad priming job, but I almost kind of like it. Not really, but I don't want to go back and redo the primer, especially since these are just going to be rank and file guys who, if you know fantasy, they're core, right? They're going to be dead in the first few turns. So I'm just going to live with the bad primer and hope that the dry brush kind of conceals most of that scaling. So now it's just a matter of waiting for everything to dry, and I'll attack this tomorrow with a dry brush to bring back the original skin tone. Here's the twin test model. They have the same head. It was just kind of a coincidence. But focus. There we go. So you can see the difference in skin color, but a dry brush should bring me right back to where the test model is. And then we can go in with the golden yellow and start working on all those tasty bits. So just before I call it a day, I'll give one more little overview of the army so far. They're coming along really well. Uh, Before I go, I do want to introduce two friends who came to call. They were hiding in the back of my curio cabinet, and as I was searching through models today, I realized that they were unpainted, so I grabbed them and used some of the extra paint on my palette to bring them up to where everybody else is. So the model on the right, that's Epidemius, the Tallyman. And the model on the left is an Avatars of War model called the Herald of Pestilence. And I've got him glued to a 50mm base, and I think I'm going to use him as my Kugath Plague Father model. He's a little small for the base, but I think it'll be okay. And of course he's primed in brown because I ran out of white primer. And I'm thinking now that that may be why the primer bloomed. I got down to the bottom of the can, not really paying attention, and I think that may have caused the problem. In any case, these two guys are going to be a part of my July challenge. We'll see if we can get the 20 core models and those two lords painted up before the end of the month. So things are still progressing well. See you tomorrow.